Hey, good evening. Mark Gassert, and you can see Tom
Come
Ginn.
again, elevate your profits.
You got it. You got it. Tonight we have a very special guest with us this evening. And hey, Tom, I guess it's before we get into all this, 2023. You ever think that you'd be here in 2023? I know when you were born about, but from the time you were brought into this world and you think about where you came from, what's going on, I found something that gasoline back in 1956 was like around 21 cents a gallon. You believe that?
I can. I remember in the 60s what gasoline used to be.
Absolutely.
Well, what
Well,
are you trying to say? You know on or about my age. I just know this. Born in 1950.
right.
If I lived a normal life span, that'd be 27,375 days. And so, I maybe only have about 3,000 days left. So, in a best case scenario. So, I'm grateful for this moment. So
Okay.
I'm so grateful. So
So, sounds good. You know what? Before we bring Ruben on here, I got to do this. I'm going to do the flame thing and bring him in here, and I'll just kick this off so we get started. And that's what we are about. And Tom, since we're talking about elevate your profits, I always like the way you outline it. Can you share with everyone what we're about? It's not just about dollars and cents, although that is important. But what we're going to talk about tonight with Ruben is kind of cool. So I'll let you elaborate on the whole ethos of elevate your profits.
well, being an entrepreneur myself since 1983, I've been through the hoops and loops and all the things it takes to build a business, have success, had failures along the way. And I always like to give credit where credit's due through you, Mark. First of all, introducing me to Grow Live Academy allows us to do this forum. So I just want to give credit to this. Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking today. But this whole platform we decided to set up, Mark and I, to bring people in from all different walks of life in and around business. Elevate your profits, like Mark said, is not just about the bottom line, your margins and profits. You know, it's really about everything from the mindset to the bank, what it takes to win in business. And and we've been blessed. Would you agree, Mark, the quality of people we've interviewed
Oh, absolutely. And as a
and
matter of fact, Randy Chafee, we interviewed him. He says, "Hey, Mark Gassert and Tom Ginn, I was born in '56, so be easy with the old joke." All right, all
he's
right.
a baby. He's a youngster still. So, but anyway, that's the whole premise of this is that, where that person's maybe thinking about going in business, already in business, solopreneur, an entrepreneur, maybe has a traditional type of business. What's relevant to today to be successful long term? Things have changed,
Right.
right, Mark? I mean, we got
Oh,
technology that
absolutely.
I would never envision myself being in front of a camera
Oh no.
talking to an audience.
That's where I got the document from. My sister sent this to me a while back. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but go ahead and I'll throw up a couple other tidbits here, everybody, but go.
Yeah, so that's the whole premise of our platform. Hey, just tag and share this out there. There's somebody out there that is maybe, like I say, desiring to go into business and needs that encouragement. Maybe one nugget of wisdom or advice can make the difference of somebody succeeding or not succeeding in their business. So tag and share that out with everybody. So
And that's a great segue to our guest. Speaking about business, my business is your business. I'm going to bring in the former Navy SEAL, Ruben Lowing, and he's going to elaborate as to what he's doing right now to help people out there, how to serve people. And service unto others, it has been said, is the rent that we pay for a room here on earth. So, Ruben, what's up in 2023 with you, sir?
Oh well, it's a new year, and we got people aren't locked down. People are actually answering the phone. All right, so things are getting good. Yeah.
Absolutely. Hey, just real quick, and Randy said no old jokes, but you know, in 1956, the average income was $4,454. Can you imagine that? Some people make that in a day. $4,454 in a year. And, you know, that was doing pretty good back then, I guess. I just came into the world then, so, you know, just a thought.
My dad never made more than $40,000 a year in his whole life,
Right.
and but he had $80,000 socked away in the bank before he died.
Wow.
You know
Yeah.
that yeah, I think this is kind of, and we'll get into your topic here in a minute. My wife family, her father never made more than 40,000, raised 6 kids.
Yep.
You, Ruben, knowing your background in financial service stuff, here's a gentleman made no more than 6 kids here in the Midwest, retired a multimillionaire.
Right.
See, it's not what you make; it's what you're able to keep, right?
Yep.
That's
And
right. That's
then having
exactly
a
right.
plan. So you know that's part of what we're here. You know, it's, a lot of people get hung up on the big dollars, but the dollars you have, you got to know what to do with them to have them work
Right.
for you, right, Ruben?
Right.
That's correct.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And
that's it's getting that mindset. I mean, I get people that they just shut down just because they think they can't make enough, and it's how they manage what they're making.
exactly, exactly.
so Ruben, I'm going to start out here, and you brought something up here. Can you tell us how you came up with this idea right here? Because I've heard you on your YouTube channel every now and then, and but you came up with something that caught my eye. My business is your business. So can you explain to us what that's about?
Well, it got started when I first came into this business, and I my the people I talked to, a lot of them were mortgage real estate professionals, and I used to be in that industry. And so I would talk to them, hey, I'd like to talk to you about increasing our business. And they that would intrigue them,
Right.
and because if I can show them how what I do helps them do what they do, then it's they're very interested in that. And so I'd schedule an appointment and we'd sit down together. I've had this website. The guy that helped me with the website, I work out all the time, and so he was thinking I was going to be more into like fitness and nutrition. I am, but that's not my business. Okay, and so I had to. I kind of didn't do anything with it for a while, and then when I found out about Be Connected, I'm like, okay, this is this. I was looking for a capture page, and I already had a capture page on my website.
Right.
I just had to rearrange it.
Right.
And so yeah, actually what we're going to do right now is we're going to put a link to my website on the in the chat.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. And I will do that for you. I'm going to scroll down here
Oh, I'm
and
in
I'm
it
going
right
to,
now. Right. I
okay.
put it up there right now. So if you go right to it, it goes right to the capture page. So it doesn't matter. And so what I'm going to be doing, what you guys are doing, businesses that I just got my first affiliate arrangement today with Score Navigator. Score Navigator is the guy that actually came up with the credit scoring system for the credit bureaus, came up with this do-it-yourself credit repair system. And so I'm now an affiliate. I haven't posted it on my website yet. I just got it right before this podcast. I got,
Right.
they got my logo up there. So in fact, I'll even share that. See, this is cool. This will be, I'll have this in it'll be a page on my website right there. So when we share screen, I'll show that. So
Okay.
basically what that does, you can go on, it's like a do-it-yourself. You go in and look at what's showing up on your credit report, and you can go in and take out the things that you've already paid off, or maybe they're derogatories that aren't yours. That's my son. He's like 31 years old. He was working for Tesla, and he wanted to buy his own S3, but his credit scores were he didn't have a lot of credit,
Right.
but the scores are really low. So I had him pull a free credit report, freecreditreport.com, and we found this derogatory that wasn't his. I showed him how to dispute it, and 48 hours later, he was driving his own S3 around. I've been doing this. When I was in the SEAL teams, when I got out, my wife handled all the finances all the time, and I was gone all the time because that's why she did it, right? And then when I got out, my income dropped off significantly. I wasn't making as much money as I was in the SEAL teams, and I had just got into sales. A total accident. I got into sales, but I wasn't making as much money as I was in the military. And she's like, the creditors keep calling, and I'm like, well, tell them I'll pay them when I get the money. And she's like, but they don't listen. I'm like, well, tell them to pack sand. Well, she couldn't do that, so I did it. But the guy from Discover Credit Card, he was a former Marine, and he was he was kind of tough. He said, I think you better self-educate in personal finance and debt management. And that's what I did. I read every book you can get your hands on personal finance and debt management, and learned some strategies. And it was really amazing. I didn't know how to use Excel, so I had a whiteboard behind my bedroom door with all my debts on it, highest debt to smallest debt,
Right.
the balance, the monthly payment, and every month I'm changing them with the grease pencil or the dry erase marker, right?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Rolling up my debt, and then I answered an ad in the paper as a debt management consultant, and that was their primary strategy. But they also incorporated consumer credit counseling, debt settlement strategies, and strategically paying off certain debts with a mortgage refinance. And
Cool.
I ended up writing more business for that company anybody had done in San Diego for a year and a half, and they made me the manager. And then every time I showed somebody how to get out of debt, they started looking at buying a house. So I got my real estate license, and I started doing mortgages and real estate. Most of the people, I had to help them, though. I had to, look at their situation, make sure they, had enough assets, making sure they had their, lower their debt to income ratio, reducing expenses,
Right.
And getting their scores up. Then they could get into a house, but I knew they weren't going to make it to retirement. And then I found this company, and I had all these people that needed help, and I turned this young kid loose on them, and helped them out. I got some referrals, and that's what I was after. But that
Cool.
kid made a lot of money. He made $30,000 that month, and his commission's paid in 4 days. I'm like, what are you doing? So that's how I got started.
I just wanted to insert here. You talked about new homes or house, and I'm having some fun here. I can't get too serious. $11,725, Tom. That's what a new house cost in 1956. $11,725. That blows my mind.
Where's the time machine?
I know. Can we go back? I know. Can we go back? And by the way, Robert says, he said, good evening, Mark, Tom, Randy, and Reuben. And he said, the power of enthusiasm is strong tonight. So thank you, Robert. I appreciate that. And that's something I'm working on even for myself. I think all of us could stand to do that and have fun in the process. And that's one of my goals, is not to take things so serious this year. Let's just have fun. Let's roll with it. And as you can see, though, I did want to mention this. Reuben's website is My Business is Your Business, is ticking underneath here. So if you want to check it out, you can check it out. But you mentioned something, Reuben, and Tom knows a lot more about this than me. But what you mentioned something to me that caught my attention when you said, "Hey, and I'm going to throw this up there. What's the buzz about Be Connected? Like, why did you check that out? I'm just curious."
Well, because Robert invited me on a podcast you guys were doing.
Oh, wow.
And that's how I even know who you guys are.
The
And
master
you invited me on a
influencer,
podcast,
Robert Brooker.
Right. And then I saw that. So for free, you got unlimited connectivity, contacts, unlimited attendees, unlimited time. You could share screen. You can do everything you can do with Zoom
Mm-hmm.
and StreamYard on this platform. I go, this is kind of cool, and you can brand yourself way better than you can on them other platforms.
Right. And
And
just insert this, Tom, you got to share with us because you know a lot about Be Connected. You've been doing this longer than Ruben and I put together here. But what do you think about the platform itself? You know,
First of all, we're using, we're still using right now. We're on StreamYard. Okay.
correct, correct,
I told the world I'm getting off Zoom and I'm getting off this,
right,
but we have commitments. We've got things working out, but I'm moving
sure,
everything over to this platform. A friend of mine here in the Milwaukee area knows that I do live streaming and I all that, and she says I want to introduce you to a platform that's all in one.
right,
And I says, well, I'm open. I'm looking for the best way to deliver my marketing
mhm,
message and interface with the worldwide community for my businesses.
right,
And I said, so she showed it to me, and I says, well, gosh, it's got more power, it's got more usability. I can stream. So right now, if we were in the Be Connected, we could immediately go streaming while we're talking.
sure,
It's more than just a meeting platform or a webinar platform or a streaming platform. It's also a business community platform because the founders of the company recognize that as good as Facebook is, LinkedIn is, there's pitfalls, holes in it. Some of it's not really designed for business, so they made a decision to make the platform a business platform worldwide, so we could
wow,
communicate and talk with business. And they put some technology in no one else has, and
hmm,
so that'd be the question we'd have people look at down the road. But when I looked at it, I said made sense. And me becoming I come from the same genre that Ruben's talking about.
sure,
If you can get the same value or greater value for less money or free, why not do it? Because the easiest dollar made in business is a dollar saved. So I looked at all the features and I said, if I can get more power for free, why not make the change? So I played with it a while, made sure it met my needs. And then once I saw that, I was all in. Matter of fact, I
awesome,
became an affiliate, just like you did, Mark, and just like
yeah,
um, Ruben has, because it's going to be a dominant player in this technology arena, video, streaming, business platforms, social media platforms. It's going to be
right,
a major, major player. And
cool.
so I said, I want to be in that. I want to be part of history too. So, but anyway, that's the power that you'll be learning more about. Be Connected. You see the logo in the right hand corner there. So, but I will turn it back over to you, Mark and Ruben.
Okay. And Ruben, just real quick before we get into all this, tell us what you're doing and how you go about helping people now, serving people. You talked about finances and that. I know you shared some things with me. You and I have talked on the phone, off screen, and how you're trying to help people in different professions, vocations. Do you mind, explaining how you're trying to help and serve people with your business?
well, my title is a financial literacy trainer. I'm a life licensed agent, and I represent a whole bunch of companies and different, like over 300 different, uh, almost over 200 different companies, like,
Right.
close to 400 different financial strategies. We can help pretty much everybody. Plus, with my background, I can help people, way more people than most people will or do because of what I've done before. Most financial professionals are going to look at somebody's credit score and they're going to look at their debt to income ratio and they're going to go, the here's my card. When you start making more money, give me a call. Well, I'll roll my sleeves up and actually start helping people. And we're going to talk about that in my presentation.
Right.
And but a lot of it has to do with the mindset. I mean, I see people so often. There's no reason that they shouldn't be in a better situation than they are, but the choices that they make.
Yes.
I run into so many people that are spending a crazy amount of money eating out. I mean, insane amount of money. And I'm like, why? Is the food that good? And if not, there's something else. There's something. They're single. They want to be around people. They're married and mama ain't happy and mama ain't cooking, right? Because they ain't happy. I mean, there's all kinds of underlying reasons that you got to help them fix before they'll fix the rest of their situation.
Ruben, can I make a comment here? Because I come from this arena, and it's sad in this day, with the wealthiest country in the world, the Americans make more money than anybody else in the world, but we're nearly 70% of the American people are one paycheck away from bankruptcy, and less than 3.5% of the American people have a net worth over $1 million. That is a tragedy. That's one of the missions I got, and it's how people win, what it takes to win. It's really a simple thing. I love what Warren Buffett says. Spend less than you make, save some money, get out of debt, and you'll win. Plain and simple. Eventually, you're going to have enough assets on the simplistic side. So you said it. It's your belief system, your attitudes. Why do you make the decisions you make? So I'll turn it back to you.
Hey, Reuben, can you pull that up and I will share it with everybody, your presentation? Do you mind pulling that up again so I can pop it? And I've seen this, and Reuben did a real nice job with this, and I just figured, hey, let's get it out there. Let's let people. Whoops.
I'm bringing it up right now.
Okay, no worries. We'll take our time. We'll get there.
Mark, bring down the banner, the blue banner.
Yeah, I'm going to remove that right now. That's what I was looking to do. Hang on here. I got to go over here to this, but just give me a moment. Boom. There we go. It's beautiful. Reuben, I'm going to let you roll with this.
Okay, so I'm not hearing you anymore, so I guess it's time for me to get started. So this is a goal-setting PowerPoint that I put together for some guys at our church, and you have to figure out where you are before you can get to where you're going. And I learned this in the military. They would drop you off in the middle of the night from a helicopter, land, and you couldn't go anywhere because you didn't know where you were. So you get underneath your poncho and you pull the map out and your compass, and you try to figure out. You pick your head up front, look around and see where there's a landmark, a river or a road or something, so you can orientate yourself, and then from there you can start on your course, your pre-planned course. Okay, so that's the same thing with your life and with your finances or your business. You got to figure out where you're at before you get to where you're going. And most people don't do that first. Most people just let's go, right? And let's sell this, right? But you got to figure out where you are first, right? And that'll help you. When you start making some profits, what are you going to do with those profits? How are you going to get? What are you going to do with that besides go out to eat, or go party with your friends or whatever, right? You got to honor your money. All right. God had great planners, divine planners. Noah, he over 100 years building the ark, right? Planned the whole ark. And then Joseph, actually that's, chapter 37 in Genesis, the story where he had a dream about his bundle of wheat stood up and the other bundles of wheat bowed to him. But he was a great planner, planning the what to do in the drought in Egypt. And then there was King David planned God's house and the temple. He didn't build it. Solomon built it, but Solomon was a great planner. And these all, we're great. God loves planners. God loves us to have plans so he can insert himself in our plans. You've heard it said, even God can't steer a parked car. All right. And, there's all kinds of, sayings. Luke, 14:28. Which of you desiring to build a tower does not first sit down and count the cost, whether he has enough to complete it? There's just, these are different verses that I pulled, but they're all throughout the Bible. God always backs the one that had a plan and had a vision, right? So how do you get started on your plan? Well, you got to figure out where you are to get where you want to go. You got to weigh out, what your assets are, what your liabilities are, what hurdles might come at you. Try to figure out what the path is going to be like. Okay, so what we do is it's called a personal financial strategy or a financial needs analysis, and we see what your concerns are, what goals you have, your short-term, mid-range, long-term goals, what your income is coming in, from all different sources, you and your spouse or your significant other, what you have is in assets, what you have in liabilities and expenses, and a lot of people, they're not thinking about, they're not looking at what they have going out compared to what they have coming in, and what's left over. They're not paying attention. Well, this makes them pay attention, right? And then when we see that, we can determine what they can do next. And we're looking at setting up a proper financial foundation with proper protection and debt management, and setting up an emergency fund and investments, and this X curve is in the way life works. In the beginning, you're not making very much money, but you got a lot of responsibility. You're getting a house or apartment, and you got a car payment. You got married, now you got kids, now you got a lot of responsibility, but you're new in your job or your business, so you're heavy on these responsibilities and low on the assets. But eventually you start making more money, and then you can start getting a pattern on how to function in your household and with your kids. The kids are, they start walking and getting out of diapers and feeding themselves and dressing themselves, and they get themselves to school and back, and then they're out of the house, and ideally, you have low responsibilities. You've paid off your mortgage. You've got, all your debts paid off, and your assets have grown, and then you can have a great life and enjoy your retirement. And so we help them figure that out, and we help them manage it with the safety, and the tax advantages and the protection. Okay, so you got to create a business plan, even if you're not in business. If you just what I did here, took a spreadsheet, and I've done this every year for like the last 5 years. But most people are, by the 8th of January, have given up on their New Year's resolutions already. So I went and looked at what my niche markets are. So I'm looking for referrals. That's what I've been doing today all day, making phone calls, asking for referrals, and then I'm trying to set appointments. I do well with the real estate mortgage professionals because I was in that business. Civil engineers, land surveyors, boxers, hockey players, martial artists, pastors and preachers, doctors, nurses, physical therapists, farmers, coaches, veterans. I love veterans. If I was on a base that somebody was stationed on during the time they were on that base, it's like I got a new brother right now. They answer the phone every time I call. It's awesome. I love veterans, and so these are my niches. So I'm like, okay, these are the people that I'm trying to get around. Okay, doesn't mean they're going to do business with me right away, but we speak the same language. It's easier for me to communicate what I'm trying to do for them.
Right.
And then set appointments, and then different kinds of meetings, one-on-ones, group meetings. Try to do at least 4 a day. Try to prospect like 4 new people a day. This is what I'm looking at looking at averaging and, what it can work out for me, the social media and all that. So this is my plan. All right. But I don't want to fall flat on my plan. I want to keep up with it. Okay. So I look at doing synergistic actions. Okay. Things that I do that are going to produce business. All right. And get me around, get me out there in the public, people knowing what I do and how I help people. Okay. There's thin threads that can hook you up. And this is an example of this guy named Craig Sawyer. He was in the SEAL teams around the same time I was in the SEAL teams. And he's a tracker. And he tracks down human traffickers, people that are trafficking women and children. And I saw him on a Facebook Live with this guy, Jason Cisneros. Jason Cisneros is an entrepreneur. I thought he was another Navy SEAL. He works out all the time, got a lot of tattoos. He speaks like somebody from the military. So he curses like a sailor. But he's a business consultant. He helps businesses. He sees businesses that have potential. His fee is he's 51% of the business. He gets them profitable, and then sells his half of the business back to him or sells it to somebody else. And that's what he does. And what he does with his money is he goes out and hunts down human traffickers. And that's how he was on a call with Craig Sawyer. And I started following him around and, following him on his podcasts
Right.
and his Facebook Lives. And then he started this, it was like The Apprentice virtual. Had business owners and they would do these, probably it was a lot like The Apprentice and the next Impactor. And he created a business incubator course, which we're going to be implementing in the Voc Rehab program that I'm part of here in Cypress, Texas, the Falconer Initiative. And they're going to teach different disciplines, broadcast communications, heavy equipment mechanic, heavy equipment operators. They're going to be building container houses. There's a whole bunch of things that they're going to be doing with this. But they put these businesses together, make teams out of them that are synergistic and they support each other. And they're going to put them through this business incubator program. Because this guy, Jason Cisneros, his strategies are helping people thrive during the tough economic times like we're coming into. And we're just coming into it right now. Okay. And of course, Robert Broker, I was on his podcast and he invited me on your podcast, and that's how we're even talking. So these thin threads can take you places. So get out there and pay attention to people and get that so they can pay attention to you and you can get somewhere. Right? This is an example. This is our screenshot of a podcast that the first one you had me on, and talking about what I do. And then I wrote this call to action right before the holidays.
Right.
Talking about things that I did, goals that I had.
Sure.
I had to go through to Navy SEAL training twice. I was in class 133, and when February 20th is when Hell Week started, and it was cold. I've never been so cold in my life than I was in February in San Diego, California.
Hey, Reuben, can you hear me?
Caught pneumonia. I was coughing up blood. I went from 155 pounds to 128 pounds in a week. And my performance dropped off really bad. And I ended up getting dropped from training halfway through 12 and a half weeks into the course. And I got orders back to Pensacola, Florida. And I reapplied for SEAL training 7 times before they let me back in. And but when I went back the second time, I was ready to go. And New Year's Eve, 1986, I just wrote it down one time. I didn't keep looking at it. I just wrote down I wanted to get back into SEAL training. I wanted to make it through SEAL training. I wanted to become a Navy SEAL. I wanted to have my first fight with the All-Navy boxing team, and I wanted to have $10,000 in the bank. And when I graduated from BUD/S, February 20th, 1987, I re-enlisted on that day, and with my first half my re-enlistment bonus and what I'd saved already, I had my $10,000. So two of those goals hit on that day. 6 months later, when I got awarded the Trident, actually officially made me a Navy SEAL. That was the day I had my first fight with the All Navy boxing team in Little Creek, Virginia, and all these Navy SEALs were there, and they saw me fight. I was so amped up. I hit the guy so hard. The first punch I hit him with, he flew across the ring in a sitting position and bounced across the ring. And all these Navy SEALs jump up the ring and carry me out of the ring on their shoulders like in the movies. And I'm like, what am I going to do next? And immediately the thought, go to combat. And that became my next goal. I actually gave up my shot at the Olympic trials in 1988 to go to the Persian Gulf during the Iran-Iraq War to get a chance to go see combat. It didn't happen in that platoon. But the next platoon in Panama is when I got my combat action ribbon, and that was miserable. It sucked. Right now, my next goal immediately when they called the ceasefire was I was going to tell my wife, that was my 1-year wedding anniversary. I was going to tell my wife to go off the pill, and we were going to start working on having a boy so I could leave a legacy. And the next thought in my mind is, next time I get in a firefight, I want to be as far away as I can. I don't want anybody to see me. I'm going to sniper school. And that's what I did. And when I came back from sniper school, we had my son, and the next goal right away was, okay, was to, take care of him, and just, things like that. The goals, I set them really fast and worked toward them. And I had another goal when I got out of the military of buying a house, and I figured out what a debt roll-up was, and I reverse engineered it. I figured I would be able to get in that house if everything worked out right by July of 2002. And that's exactly when I closed escrow on that house. It didn't go exactly as planned, but it ended up as planned. And there was other goals that I'd set that, looking back on them, I would have put more effort into the details and work the plan a lot better. Okay, but having goals works. Okay, and so I put this call out to action out, and then you guys asked me to come on podcast. I signed up for Be Connected because I saw that as a strategy to help other businesses, people that are in business, understand what I do a lot better than people that aren't in business. Okay, because their mind's already thinking. They have to be forward thinking to be in a business. So I like business owners, and I saw Be Connected as a way to help promote businesses. All right, and so sharing the platform with Be Connected, I thought was a good idea. It's like Zoom and StreamYard on steroids. And you guys had me on a podcast, and I kind of saw how well that worked, right? And then it's a value add for business owners, authors, podcasters. I got my website. This is the first page of my website. It's just a capture page, and interviewing people, and asking for, if you want to know more information about this guy's business or this person's book or this person's exercise routine or their meal plan or whatever, whoever I'm talking about, I can promote them and get them leads that also become my leads. So putting buyers and sellers together. Another strategy I learned from a business I was in is to map your course. Okay, you just don't leave the house and okay, I'm going to go find business. Where are you going to find that business? So these are businesses that are within about 12 miles from my office that I can pop in and start a conversation. I know enough about what they do and, what their challenges are with their business. I know the lingo, and I know what I have that can help them with their business. So by mapping a route, okay, I can get my 4 contacts a day very easily just on the way to the office, right? And it doesn't take me out of my way very, very much. Or if I'm out and about I can check my Google Calendar and see, hey, what businesses, am I around that I can
Right.
pop in right now. So, and you can't always do business right away. But all you may be able to do is just get some contact information, share my card or a brochure, and set a time to call them back and to set an appointment or to do a presentation. But it keeps me active. So, and I apply my SOPs, standard operating procedures. I learned that when I was in the military. Had to build rapport. I start a conversation with FORM. It stands for family, occupation, recreation, money, and message. And then, utilize my tools. I have a 30 by 30 campaign. We're in a campaign to educate 30 million families by the year 2030. And I get to tell them about that. And the way I present it, it opens up the conversation. And then we have what's called the Saving Your Future book. There's like 2 million in circulation. We've shared it with the faculty at Harvard Business School. Actually, one of the professors, she's a PhD in economics, is one of our campaigners. She makes about $117,000 a year teaching for the university, but she makes $500,000 a year part-time in our business, helping families. And then Columbia Business School actually uses this book as a curriculum. And out of a whole bunch of companies, we were chosen to teach the FBI. So that's good. It's all real good information. It's all product agnostic because I'm not selling any products. It's just teaching people, principles about finances. And then I register them for the workshops where they teach out of this book. There's 6 different workshops. I do them 3 times a day, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, once on Wednesday. Then I can do them. I can do the training in person or on virtual, and then set a follow-up appointment at my office or a Zoom or at their house. So this is in following this pattern, we get to business. All right. And then why do I want to do this? Why do I want to make this kind of money? Well, I'd like to buy a multi-unit property, a 4-unit property, live in one side, rent the other, units out, basically living rent-free, right? If I'd have known this strategy when I was younger, I sure would have done it. Would have been a smarter way to do it. Would have helped me build my savings because I would have had more money to save. And then, contribute to the cause of human trafficking. You go out and, get some of these dirt bags off the streets, rescue some children and women and children and help them get in recovery. And then teaching kids to box. I mean, the way I learned, the leadership I learned was under the tutelage of Roy Jones Sr. in the boxing gym. I don't think there's a better place to teach it. When you're putting a kid in a situation where they got to pay attention because somebody's throwing fists at them. They have to learn the disciplines. They have to learn the technique. They have to be conditioned. They have to be disciplined, and to be able to even function in this sport. And so I know enough that this is the easiest way for me to develop somebody because I know what I'm doing, and I enjoy doing it. And so that's my presentation. Let me stop sharing so I can hear you guys.
Well, hey, Ruben, I got to ask you this. You said rent free. That always tickles me because there are some people that actually do live rent free. They're living with their parents because of some of the things you touched on and what we're going to delve into it in 2023 for some businesses. I know Tom's he's in the financial world, and there's people prognosticating right now that this could be an iffy year, financially for some people, not everybody, but they're going to go through some situations.
Well, what interested me about you guys is your business consulting. Basically, that's your prowess of this podcast. Okay, in I've seen this before in the 1996 recession. That was right when I got out of the military, man. That was
Right.
General Dynamics, downsized in San Diego, and things got ugly, right?
Yeah.
But what happened is these people that will work, these engineers and technicians, they started their own companies doing the same thing that they were doing working for General Dynamics and then contracting back to the same company that hired them, but they weren't limited just to that company. They could outsource,
Right.
they could contract to other companies and bring in multiple streams of income. Okay, and that's what's going to happen. Okay,
And
the
where do
same
I
thing
hear
happened in 2008.
Right.
Okay, and what was going on in 2008 is there was a bifurcation in the market. You know what that means is there was financial advisors, when they're looking at businesses to, bring into their mutual fund, whatever, right? They're looking for ones that have a, smart CEO, smart board, right? They want to make sure that they have a good product that's in demand. They got good marketing. They're marketing to the emerging markets. They got good supply chain management. But the main thing they're looking for is low debt and a lot of assets. Okay, and so companies that were operating that way, they're gonna take off. They're gonna prosper in this economy. The ones that weren't, they're gonna fall off a cliff. And that's the same thing that's happening right now. Right now, what the Fed is doing, what the Federal Reserve is doing, is intentionally, and he isn't shy about telling us, to create more unemployment. Because if we can't make enough money to buy the goods and services, that the price will come down. Okay. Now, the reason that we have inflation, it's all artificial. Okay. It's artificial because we stopped drilling for oil. Okay. The cost of energy has a huge impact on the cost of goods and services.
Right.
Okay. It's going to have, there's all kinds of things that are artificial that are causing this this recession. This is a intentional recession, okay, to bring down inflation. Rather than, why don't we start pumping oil, right?
Yeah.
But people, that if you have your own business, nobody's going to fire you or lay you off, okay? Right. And you just have to figure out, and that's what I can help people do, is either help them increase their business, help them start a business, all right, or help them get multiple streams of income.
Yes. Tom, he keeps saying that word, multiple streams of income. Where have I heard that before?
Ruben, you and I are singing and dancing the same tune here, two-stepping and all that. That's what I've been teaching for nearly 40 years, is one source of income, whether it be a job or a business. How can you diversify multiple streams, running parallels? You made a comment, one of the professors making $117,000 a year, but she has a business, she makes $500,000. So people say, I can only do one thing. You could do multiple things. And I love multiple source of incomes, residual passive income. Once you sell it, it continues to pay you after the work is done. That's why I got in financial services. Build a client base, build the relationships, and they stay with you and they pay their premiums. They invest every month. And every month that they pay, I get paid too. And that's residual. That was one of the reasons I got into business. So how can a person do that? And that's what Mark and I are about, is how to help people understand how to build wealth. The average millionaire has 7 sources of income. 7. I ask people out there listening today, how many sources of income do you have?
They do.
Then find out what they're doing and replicate and duplicate they're doing. It doesn't take a lot of money. There's a lot.
I sat down with a guy. You'll laugh at this story. I sat down with a guy, single guy. He's a truck driver, makes good money, right? But I'm looking, he's like $700 and almost $800 upside down every month. I'm like, what's going on, right? Well, he eats out a lot, right? So
what is this with the eating out a lot stuff, man?
So just curbing that. I tell him, you start, what I do, right? I have a crock pot, and I'll make split piece and ham, 7 bean soup with ham, lentil soup with ham, and it lasts me the whole week, right?
That concept that people may not even, a lot of people, a brown bag, right? You brown bag it,
right? So if somebody who did that, okay, and then
Right.
if they were getting Starbucks coffee every morning, it's going to average about $5.50 if they just get one cafe mocha venti, all right. And if they ate lunch at and I'm not talking about, maybe they go to McDonald's and get a McMuffin, whatever, right? And some orange juice. So that's going to be like another $7, right?
Wow.
Okay. Then if instead of going to Chipotle and getting their version of Cobb salad, all right, and they brown bag it, they brew their own coffee and take a thermos to work, they will save almost $500 a month.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
And so when I go through people's finances and I see, where the waste is or the unnecessary expenses that they have, put them in a debt roll up, help knock that debt off, right? If they make more money, we get them to save that money. So all these strategies we do for this guy I'm telling you about, right? So all his money, he had 2 hobbies. He has like 7 American bulldogs. And he originally bought them to breed them, but like because of COVID, nobody was buying dogs. So he's got like 7 dogs that he just, that I'm like, well, I know somebody that can help you get rid of them dogs. No, they're like my children. I'm like, well, can they make any money with them dogs? I had 1 dog, a black and tan, and me and a 22, and that dog killed 34 raccoon in Michigan the summer of my senior year of high school. That dog made $680 that month, paid for himself and all his food for a long time, right? So I'm like, can you hunt with your dogs, right? But figure out what you could, turn your hobby into a business. And then his other hobby was racing motorcycles. Spending like $500 a month on parts for a motorcycle that ain't running right now. I'm like, dude, you need to like set yourself up on a reward basis, right? You do something, you make some money, then you buy your part for your motorcycle, right? You gotta change the way you do things. You gotta change the way you think. Okay, you gotta think with your outcome in mind.
Right.
Gotta say that strong enough?
No, absolutely. Hey, just real quick, Ruben, and I know I'm going back to 1994 because you said here breaking the power of debt and rapid debt reduction, those strategies. You read these 2 books. Were you aware of them before then? And how did you stumble in, onto these 2 manuscripts here?
Oh, that's really funny. Okay, so I was a boxer most of my life, right?
Right.
And so these books have boxing gloves on the cover.
Oh, really? Okay.
And that's why my ex-wife bought them for me, right? So I'd read because they had boxing gloves on the cover, and so I read them, and it was a pastor by the name of John Avanzini, and the Breaking the Power of Debt was all about tapping into the spiritual warfare, the power of the supernatural to get yourself out of debt, right? Making that heart, that God commitment. And then rapid debt reduction strategies was just a debt roll-up strategy with techniques on how to talk to your creditors. And that's where I learned about the debt roll-up. But it was really crazy because the pastor that I had in Far Texas, Clark Ortiz, the pastor of Center Church, I'm telling him this story. Guess who one of his mentors was? John Avanzini.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Hey, you were talking about Starbucks, and I'm going to bring Tom in here. I shared this. Robert said that Starbucks, he's not a big coffee guy, but he said he does like their sandwiches. So there you go.
Yeah, you need to get buy 22 kilo and brew your own coffee and
right.
and take a thermos to work, that's a 22 kilos a veteran that he gets his coffee. He's at a source in Colombia, and that 22 is the number of veterans that actually commit suicide every day. And that's why he did it. Gonna give him a little plug here. Gonna see if I can't get him to want to be a sponsor on my website here. I'll get an interview with him.
Hey, Tom. So what do
Yeah.
you think about all this that Ruben's talking about? Because these are things you've talked about through different guests we've had on here, and it's the same recurring theme. And by the way, I loved your presentation. I told you that the first time I saw it. I love how you brought it from biblical time up to the present. Even back then, people were, looking to set goals, standards, and they even wrote these things out. Isn't that amazing? So,
Yeah.
but Tom, what do you think about this?
Well, what Ruben is sharing is been the passion. Winning with money is like he started out. You got to know where you're at today. And don't worry about whether you're broke, not broke, got money, no money. You got to know where you're at. You got to have a starting point, and then you got to know where you got to go. But you had that compass, It was once you know where you're at and knowing where you want to go, you can set your course, and then follow the course, and follow this. What you're talking about, Ruben, is the principles of success on a personal basis. If people would just follow that, they're not going to be lacking of doing their vacations or doing the things they want. But I love the principle of a budget. And people say a budget. I call it a zero-based budget. Every dollar comes in, you got a spreadsheet of every dollar that goes out. Every dollar is allocated to go someplace. To pay to the rent, pay the utility, pay your cell phone, pay your entertainment. You've got to determine what the entertainment budget. Oh, I'll just spend money when I got paid today. I just go out and play. No, there goes half your paycheck. You allocate money for your play, but every dollar goes to work for you. If you got debt, you allocate. You do the debt roll up, right? You highest to lowest, and you take your discretionary income and you throw that the lowest debt and get that paid, and take that, roll those dollars over to pay to the next payment, right? And before you know it, you're looking at the average credit card takes 19 years to pay off. You pay the minimum, right? 19 years. Well, if you can learn what he's teaching, you can have all that debt paid off in 2 to 3 years. And guess what? What would you do with an extra $2,000 to $3,000 of discretionary income? Because that's what the average debt service out there for as a car, a lease, a mortgage, consumer debt is a couple grand a month. The average family's out there spending. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, and it's like, you ever have dogs? You're trying to house train them and they pee on the carpet. And you kind of you got to rub their nose in it, right? And then eventually they'll stop doing it, right? They'll stop doing it. But I kind of feel like I'm doing that a lot of times, and I get people that like they don't. A lot of times people take pride in their sin, right? They enjoy whatever that thing is,
Right.
but they're not looking at the underlying reason for why they're doing what they're doing. They don't really. The food isn't that good.
Yeah.
They don't like how they look in the mirror, right?
Yeah.
So if you can pull out of them what they want,
Yes.
or what they could have, and you attach it to these disciplines, then they'll look at it differently. But you got to listen, and you got to pay attention to them, and a lot of times it's if it's a couple, you got to get them on the same page, right?
Yes.
It's a lot easier having both of them, two horses pulling together than it is pulling against each other.
Exactly.
Usually you sit down and he's got his money and his debt, and she's got her money and her debt, and neither of the two shall meet. And those relationships are going to go like that, right? But when you get them on the same goal, and they're both working together toward that goal moving forward. And they just both beam, and they've been fighting and arguing, and then you show them how, you map it out mathematically, and you can see how they can, get themselves further down the road. That now they're lovey-dovey, but
Yeah.
but you got to keep, it's like most pastors, this is the main thing that they have in their counseling, their marital counseling. It's all about the money.
Yeah, money is the number one cause of divorce. Not people not being on the same page for whatever. And when I did my financial coaching, and I think you referred to it, I'm just paraphrasing it differently. When I did my financial coaching, it's important to know the number, what's going in, what's going out, stop the bleeding where you can, right? Triage it. And then my whole financial coaching is behavior before the numbers. Once we stop the bleeding,
Right.
then let's work about the vision, the purpose, and the why to have money in the bank. Why have an emergency? What is that going to feel like, knowing that if the tornado came through and you destroyed your car? What are you going to do? Yeah, you got insurance. Maybe you don't have insurance, right? So you got to get people emotionally involved in the outcome, a positive outcome. What would it look like and feel like not to have debt? What it would look like and feel like to be able to put money away on a monthly basis so you can do that vacation for your family and pay cash for it, right? What would it look like and feel like to retire? Most people retire at 40 to 50% of what they made a month and think they're going to live the same lifestyle. That don't work, does it?
No.
People want to retire at the same standard of living that they had, but most people end up retiring at 40 to 50%. They're making $5,000 a month. They're going to retire in $2,500. That's the average person. That's not a very exciting concept when it's hard enough to make it on the 5,000, right?
Well, I keep thinking of like these little traps, buying a new car every year, right? Or every buy a new car every 4 years, right? And financing it, okay? Or buying a timeshare, okay? That you never can get around to using it, okay? They're all these little things that'll kill you, in Texas. Oh my God, quinceañeras, right? Is it so much nicer the more money you spend, or is it so much, or is it the people that you have that come to celebrate with you? I mean, you gotta pay attention. It doesn't mean you love them more because you spent more money. In fact, probably the opposite. Okay. But I see so many people, just the crazy amount of money that they spend on those things. And that the amount of money you spend on the quinceañera isn't showing how much you love that girl. All right. It's, the relationship, that's what's important.
Good stuff.
And so these are all the things that I've seen. Getting on the same page is a huge one. Okay, because if she doesn't know what's going on, I got one guy, and I love this dude, right? Smart guy, right? And his wife, she was always trying to get those 0% credit cards, right? and she thought she was doing something by moving it over to that 0% credit card, right? And keeping 0% interest. And he finally got her, and he's like, I'm like, dude, she's trying to help. That's why she's doing it. She's trying to help. Okay. And you got to get her to see that she's helping more if you can start paying off some of that, pay that debt off.
Right.
Right. And engage with her, get her part of the conversation. And he did it, and it worked. And now they paid off their debt. Right. And so, but I could tell that she was trying to help, that that 0% on that card
Sure.
had value because that was her contribution. That was her way of doing it. And really, he just wanted to get rid of the debt. Let's just pay it off, right? And it wasn't that she was a big spender. It wasn't that at all. They got a whole bunch of credit cards with zero balance on them, which is not bad, right?
Right.
And that credit history is going to help them, right? But you don't want that to be the emergency fund. You want to build the emergency fund, right? And, anyway,
Wow.
but that you got to pay attention to,
6.
you can't beat somebody up when they're trying to do good. I mean, she didn't know any better, right? And you got to, but he was smart enough to listen to me, and I've, made all kinds of mistakes, and I know my mistakes, and how you talk to the significant other has a lot of value to it if you do it the right way, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Ruben, what we're talking about here is so critical for everybody out there, from an individual.
Sure.
I see it all the time. Business will manage their business with fiduciary responsibility. But when it comes to their personal finances, they're upside down. I can't comprehend that. You got to run your personal life the same way you would run a business. No difference, right? Your household is a business. It is a business. And it's how do you make it profitable? And profitable doesn't mean how big the bank check is. Profitable means does it give you the quality of life without crashing and burning in the future? Because it's just a matter of time. Debt is
there's all kinds of things. And when I've learned, like a lot of times, like the 5 love languages.
Yeah.
A lot of women, their love language is quality time. Used to drive me crazy because I wanted to do something. I'd rather do something. My love language is acts of service, right? And and it would or gifts, right? Oh, women they get more excited. Sometimes they get more excited giving you the present than you do getting it. Okay, and you got to recognize that you can't get them to change that. But you got to let's see what we can do to make them really like what you're giving them, something that really like rather than what you're just buying for them. Let's figure out, put a little more effort into it. My mother-in-law made me some bean bags to juggle because I was making orange juice and apple cider all over her floors, trying to learn how to juggle. So she got me some bean bags. I got so excited. And she just sewed them together with some fish, the little pellets in the fish tank. That's what she filled them up with. But they worked. And if I dropped them, they just dropped. And they didn't bounce around. And I was way excited about that. And it was the simplest little stupid thing, right? But she paid attention to what I was cared about. Kind of funny.
Ruben, I'm enjoying this. Our conversation and Mark, do you have dancing commitments tonight or?
I do. So, but yeah, they're starting off the night here. But
well, I appreciate you guys having me on.
This is
if
really
anybody
good
sees
stuff.
this and they want a consultation, you can go to my business.
It's scrolling. It's been scrolling the whole time.
And you just go on there, put your information. It'll come to my email, and we'll set an appointment either in person or on Zoom or at your house, whatever you prefer.
You got it.
Ruben, my business is your business. Yep. .info. Awesome.
Hey, thank you for being here. Thank you for being an associate with the Be Connected as well. That's another MSI, right? Passive stream of income. Yeah. So that's another strategy, how to be in business for yourself. But Mark, anything else?
No, I think he pretty much knocked it out of the park. Like, the only true home run king here living in Atlanta. I know some people may hate me saying this, but I still say that Hank Aaron is the true home run king. But no, you did a great job in what you shared. I would welcome anybody. I mean, there's all these financial people out there, but, I thought you did a very nice job. And what you explained about how to set goals financially, what you need to do. And like Tom said, run your household like a business, and you might be surprised. You got to have those
Right.
conversations.
Well, Mark, anything else and that you would like to do?
No, I'm curious to see. I know I keep in touch with him, so I'm really curious to see how things develop. And in 6 months from now, or actually in 3 months from now, see what's shaking. I'm sure he'll say, "Hey, man, you're not going to believe this," you know. But I just can't believe how people eat out. That's the one thing that blows me away. $600. I'd love to have that $600 if they're.
Oh, and that wasn't the worst one. I had a guy
I
one
I
time.
believe you.
He made $10,000 a month. He was a high level with the fire department. His wife was a nurse. She made about $4,700 a month. They had zero saved. He was eating every meal out, and the
Wow.
reason was because his wife was from another country and she hadn't been home to see her family in 20 years. Right? Mama wasn't happy. When Mama's not happy, Mama ain't cooking, and if she is cooking, she ain't going to be pleasant about it. That's why
Right.
he was eating every meal out.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
That's
Right. So
crazy.
you need to like figure out, there's always an underlying cause. Always. And when I go, wherever people put their focus, where they spend their money is where they put their focus.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, Ruben, thank you so much for sharing. It was very informative, I have to say. Tom, you got anything else to add to
Well,
this?
I would like to do this as Benjamin Gay III says.
Be
You've got to start
intentional.
advertising your corporate
Yes.
sponsor.
Yep.
And I'm going to share the screen for Be
Go ahead.
Connected 40
Go ahead.
seconds, and
Go
then
ahead.
we'll wrap her up. Okay.
You got it.
Ladies and
Love it,
gentlemen,
man.
that is Be Connected. If you want to know more about it, contact Mark, Ruben, or myself, and we'd be glad
Right. There
to.
you go, man. Well, Ruben, just real quick, I'm going to put you in the green room. Don't go crazy in there eating all those M&Ms. I know they're free, but like you said, free lunch, right? Anyway, no, seriously, thank you so much. And Robert, as always, we appreciate your comments, my man. But I'm going to stick you here in the green room real quick and we'll close this thing out officially. So, Tom, I got educated once again, It never ceases to amaze me what people spend their money on. Those that make a lot more than you or me, it's crazy stuff. You said something that was profound to me. My dad used to always preach to us, it's not how much money you make, it's how you manage the money you make. And that's what it's about. And when you figure that out, then you're on the right path. But some people could have, $5,000, $10,000 a week, they're bringing in and no telling what they'll do with it. But,
Yeah.
and you talk about those disciplines on your other platform as well, what needs to happen out there. So that's
Well,
all I
Mark, well, what's 2023 going to look like for you, Mark? What's your vision
Oh,
for 2023?
I can't wait for it. I'm not going to broadcast my goals out here to the whole stratosphere, but I'm really looking forward financially to take care of some things. There is a why for us. We want to go to Greece. We are going to Greece. I didn't even share this with you. I finally got my upgraded passport. So it was a passport from about 20 years ago. Man, I look a little different. But anyway, that is one of our goals that we want to spend someone else's money and not mine personally. When I say that, I'm going to go out and take care of business through some of the things you've been talking about here, multiple streams of income. So that's exciting. There's the why. And the neat thing about it is Gina will get to see some of her family that's over there as well. So
How exciting! How exciting! Well, Mark, my 2023 is to continue. My passion is to help people improve their lives, whether it be from the
right,
mindset to their bank account. And all the businesses I've had my greatest success in has helped to educate people how to do that. And I've become what I call financial freedom. I do what I do because I love it. I don't do it because I have to. And that is a freedom that most people are striving for.
yep,
Find that thing, that passion, that vision you want for your life, and then go for it. Take action. And there's no reason to be broke in this culture, in this country, none whatsoever.
right.
Just got to learn the rules of the game, and they're not difficult. So,
Nope.
and you can hit some home runs along the way.
Yep. Absolutely. And hey, with that said, you shared be connected, so I would be totally remiss if I didn't share our other corporate sponsor here and saying adios. And before I do, thank you everybody for joining us.
Happy to
Comments.
you.
I noticed some people that were up there, watching. And it is 2023, and it's up to me in 2023, right? So enjoy the ride, everybody. Look forward to it. Embrace it. And Tom, thank you so much again for everything.
Thank you. God bless you. Happy New Year, everybody.
And I'm going to close this out right here.